Hey, welcome to the second course video for the song Lucky by Aurora from her album All My Demons Greeting Me as a Friend. I'm musically malnourished, and you're on my journey to go deep and wide in discovering new music and artists. In these videos, we do a deep dive into the lyrics and meaning behind the music. So let's get in, see what this song's all about. All right, Aurora explained the song's meaning to the 405. It's about realizing you've been through dark tunnels in life, but still walking forward, both feet strong. We are all lucky to be alive. It's an important thing to remember. Now, when I was listening to the song, I think there are two ways that you can read this idea of lucky to be alive, and maybe both are meant to be there. One could be this, like, lucky to have made it through whatever it was I went through. So like you were in a car accident and you walked away unharmed or without any life-threatening injuries. You are lucky to be alive. The other, I think, and probably more in line with the song as a whole, is just the remembrance that to be living, even amidst pain and difficulty, is a gift and a blessing. And sometimes that's hard to remember in the most difficult of times or in seasons of depression or hurt or struggle. And so being able to set your feet on the ground in the morning and recognize, right? What is it? The guy from Kung Fu Panda about life being a gift. That's why it's called the present. And so when I was also listening to this, I was like, man, is she speaking to maybe an event of self-harm and being lucky to be alive from that? And I think it's okay if you obviously read into that in this song and it's something that has been helpful to you or brought healing or comfort to you. I don't necessarily, from my perspective, feel like it's speaking to that. I know there are lines in here that can read that way. And again, everybody's open to their interpretation. But personally, as I look through this and kind of not so much taking lines out just kind of themselves, but looking at it in the totality of what's being said, I feel like it's not necessarily pushing that idea too strongly. But let's take a look. Okay, so verse 1, when I am down, I lay my hands upon this ground. For the 1,000th time, I call him in, his earth is mine. So obviously, this idea of being down and tying into the rest of the song is, I think, just feeling defeated, feeling beat, feeling like you can't move forward, but taking this moment to lay your hands upon the ground, and this for the 1,000th time, right? Because trials happen over and over in life, and especially through prolonged seasons of difficulty and struggle or depression or whatever it might be. You know, it is just repetition of every day, maybe even multiple times a day, having to take a moment and remind yourself and preach to yourself and confront lies with truth that you're constantly having to do. So it's just like the 1,000th time, because I've been here before. I've been beat down. I've been feeling hopeless plenty of times. So for the 1,000th time, I lay my hands upon this ground. And for her, this idea of calling him in, his earth is mine, obviously seems to speak to a spiritual nature, and recognizing whatever this force in her eyes, that the earth is hers as well. So then she goes on, before I make the offering, and I think this is where, and even in the annotations, it reads into an idea of self-harm, this offering. And so I don't want to be insensitive, of course, like hear me loud and clear. If that's what you need to draw from this song, perfectly fine. I think for me, the offering is much more just herself before she makes, whether it's her plea, whether it's just this moment, whether it is this surrendering of herself, because a sacrifice is an offering, an offering is a presentation, right? So before making this offering, she remembers all the faces that she's seen. So it's like retrospect, right? These marks that have settled on my skin from all the different places that I've been. So yes, you could read something into this with self-harm, but I feel like it's more of just recognizing all of these people, these experiences these marks that are from the different places that she's been, these difficulties she's encountered. And then in this moment, she feels this light for the very first time, even though this is the 1,000th time, right, that she's done this. Not anybody knows that I'm lucky to be alive. And so she could be speaking of, again, her own experiences with self-harm and feeling lucky to be alive. Could also be maybe brushes with death nobody really knew about. Could just mean maybe the thing that probably speaks to most of us is like lucky to have made it through these things, lucky to be on the other side, whether that's, you know, tragedy that you've experienced or betrayal or just like struggle within your job and trying to get to a place of stability and a goal that you wanted to reach and feeling lucky to be alive. And at the same time, just that idea of remembering, yes, you made it through, but also the blessing of life in general. So verse 2, war inside my mind, behind my eyes is coming down. Now it's interesting because I did notice down here, there was a little bit of talk around whether these lyrics were correct. So one person said it's war is coming down behind my eyes, inside my mind, which up here, I think that's how that reads. War inside my mind, behind my eyes. But in the lyric book that somebody put down here, it actually omits the word war. Right here. Nobody knows I'm lucky to be alive. It's coming down behind my eyes, inside my mind. But, here, bear with me for a second as we just hop around and look at this. You can see here in what we listen to, not anybody knows I'm lucky to be alive, war inside my mind, behind my eyes. I'll play a small clip just so we don't get copyright on this. But you can hear. War inside my mind, behind my eyes. So you can see it there. War is what she leads with. Inside my mind, behind my eyes is coming down. So I'm not sure if it's just a misprint in the lyric book, but it is war inside my mind, behind my eyes is coming down. And for the 1,000th time, I feel too numb to even mind, right? So that again is this, I think, picture of kind of leading up to this, and she's about to, you know, re-say this. So it is this condition of how you're feeling, this war going on inside of your mind. And we know the greatest battle is within our mind, right? It's the things that we see and perceive in the world that enter our mind. And then from our mind, we have to choose what are we going to receive into our heart, into the centermost part of our being, right? So the battle happens here. What am I going to take and reject and say, no, that's not true. I'm not going to believe that. That's a lie. And what are we going to receive as truth that we then embody inside of our hearts? So you suck. You're never going to be good enough. You'll never make it. If you go, yeah, you're right. I'll never be good enough. I'll never make it. I'm not worth anything. You receive that into your heart. It transforms and changes who you are and how you act. But if you receive those things in your mind, this war that's going on, you're not good enough. No, that's not true. Like I may struggle, whatever, but no, that's not true. I am good enough. Whatever it is, you know, those things that you face in your mind, whether it's addiction or any number of different things going on here all the time that we then receive into our heart is what is true or not. So it's important. And honestly, it's why I love the scripture. It says that we've not been given a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And I hold on to that all the time. I'm like, dude, because sometimes I feel like my mind is just, it's like on this tight string, you know, at any moment it could snap and you just can find yourself spiraling. And so that idea of trying to remember, like, and claim that idea of a sound mind each day is really important to me because it affects everything about how we conduct ourselves and see the world and treat others, and it makes such a huge difference. So this feeling too numb to even mind, right? This feeling of almost like giving up. But here it is before I make the offering. So she goes back into this remembering all of the things, and then feeling this light, this breakthrough, this recognition of being lucky to be alive. The bridge. I don't know where I am or where I'll go, where to even begin when I know. What lies behind makes no sense in my mind, but I know that it's time to let go. What an honest confession, right? I don't really know where I am. I don't really know where I'm going. I don't even know where to begin when I do know. What lies behind me just makes no sense to me. And if you ever walk through something in life that you're like, dude, what the heck just happened? You know, I've been hurt and betrayed by other people. And I'm like, how did we get here? Like, I know there are two sides to every story, but I've been in seasons of my life where I'm just like, I feel like I did everything that I felt like I was kind and gentle and understanding and slow to act. And yet there seem to be people with these really hateful motives trying to destroy something good, and getting on the other end just like, what the heck happened? Like, how did we get here? Am I repeating this like deja vu? I just repeat myself. But you know, you get there and you're just like, this makes no sense. And I think we can all relate to those times. But then also her knowing like, but it's time to let go of that. You know, the past can be a good teacher. It can be a good place to visit, but it's often a bad place to live. And so just letting go of it. And that being the first step to moving forward. And in that space, it's the repeated chorus and the outro. I'm lucky to be alive. So let today be today. Learn from, but also let go of the past. So allow it to teach and maybe inform your present, but don't let it enslave you. Recognize today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. It's that Master Oogway. And my hope is that you can feel that, sense that today. And I guess hearkening back to another song, Run with the Wolves. All right. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Would love to have a conversation there. Thanks for being with me for this one. Hope to see you in the next one. It's reading good.